One of the recurrent themes of the recent global news cycle is the leak of Pentagon documents. In early April, secret documents reflecting intelligence assessments of the US Department of Defense on a vast array of topics started appearing on different social media platforms. Of course, one of the most common topics of these leaks was the war in Ukraine. While there are many interesting reports on other issues in the leaked documents, we will focus on what the Pentagon leaks tell us about the American perspective on the war in Ukraine. How strong does the United States see the Ukrainian army? What is going on behind the scenes in the process of military support to Ukraine? How aware is the Pentagon about the plans of the Russian army? We will unpack everything important about the war in Ukraine in the Pentagon leaks and assess their impact on how things will unfold on the battlefield in this video. There's one more prediction we can make based on top secret knowledge. Your dad would love a Father's Day gift from our sponsor Ridge. Well, perhaps it's no secret that their modern everyday accessories are perfect gifts, but if you didn't know, there's a Father's Day sale with up to 40% off through June 15th. The best thing to do is grab the classic Ridge wallet, a sleek and rugged upgrade on the age-old wallet design. It's the smallest wallet you've ever had while still sporting a 12-card capacity and money clip. It also blocks RFID signals to fight digital thieves and is so durable that it comes with a lifetime guarantee. Alternatively, there is the Ridge key case. Save your dad from battling a jungle of keyrings with this easy upgrade. The key case is a quiet and cool way to hold up to 6 keys in your pocket without any hassle. Also made from military-grade materials with that lifetime guarantee. The wallets and key cases come with a 99-day return policy if your recipient doesn't like them, so you can gift them risk-free. And there's a load of other stuff included in the Father's Day sale too, so you're sure to get something ideal if you visit ridge.com/kingsandgenerals. Save up to 40% before June 15th, and see why Ridge has over 50,000 5-star reviews. That's ridge.com/kingsandgenerals. Let's first note that the United States government has acknowledged the authenticity of most of the leaked documents, except documents that Russia has altered for misinformation purposes, like the one exaggerating Ukrainian casualties and diminishing Russian losses. These leaks are a massive breach of the American system of security of secret documents, and have been causing a headache for American diplomats, who are currently engaging in damage control to prevent any souring of relations with its allies. The moral of the story is not to give access to secret and damaging documents to 21-year-old Air National Guards who have nothing to do with these documents. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the documents. One of the things we all suspected all along is that the United States has a lot of information about the inner workings of the Russian government and army. There are documents which reveal Russian plans and strategy. For instance, there is information about the intended targets of Russian strikes inside Ukraine. One of the documents reveals the Russian strategy of fighting Western tank supplies, which envisaged the creation of 3 fire zones against them. Evidently, Russia failed to implement this strategy, as we've yet to see any recent indication of the destruction of Western-supplied assets before they made it onto the battlefield. The leaks inform us about conflicts inside the Russian elite too. The dispute between the Wagner PMC chief Yevgeny Prigozhin and Defense Minister Shoigu has been relatively public. At one point, Prigozhin even accused the Ministry of treason for not supplying his troops with sufficient numbers of shells. According to the leaks, Putin organized a meeting between the two on February 22nd to resolve any issues they had. We have not seen any public evidence of this meeting, but since late February, Prigozhin has indeed toned down his criticism of the defense ministry. Another document claims that the FSB has accused the defense ministry of hiding the actual scale of Russian losses. According to their information, Russia had suffered 110,000 killed and wounded in the war at that point. One of the leaks is related to Wagner. It is claimed that Wagner operatives contacted their Turkish contacts to buy weapons and equipment from Turkey. We have yet to see evidence of Turkish weapons and equipment used by Wagner or any unit of the Russian army, so even if Wagner mercenaries tried to buy weapons from Turkey, they were rejected. We see a similar trend concerning Russian attempts to purchase weapons from Egypt and China, reflected in the leaked documents. A leak claims that the president of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, agreed to purchase 40,000 rockets to sell to Russia. Since Egypt is one of the main allies of the United States in the Middle East, this news is truly surprising. Ultimately, this move did not materialize, which may indicate that the US managed to persuade el-Sisi against doing that. The Pentagon leaks also inform us about the intention of China to sell weapons to Russia. This specific leak is from February 23rd. Immediately before and after this date, we see numerous statements from President Biden, Secretary of State Blinken, and CIA Chief Burns, where they have publicly warned against China sending weapons to Russia. There have been reports of minimal arms deals made between Russian and Chinese companies, but we have no evidence of large-scale Chinese military aid to Russia, indicating that China has decided against this step. There is a curious leaked document about the increased Russian movement in Belarus in late 2022 and early 2023. According to the Pentagon, this was a deliberate misinformation operation conducted by the Russian GRU to convince the Ukrainian leadership that Russia was indeed planning to conduct one or more offensives from Belarus. The document also notes that GRU considered this operation a success. This part is more complex. Many Ukrainian officials warned about increased activity in Belarus, while the commander-in-chief, Zaluzhny, claimed that he was sure of another attack from Belarus at some point. Still, many other officials downplayed the likelihood of this. For instance, Defense Minister Reznikov repeatedly stated that Russia did not gather enough men to launch an offensive from Belarus. We reached a similar conclusion in our videos discussing Russian activity in Belarus. The leaked documents from the Pentagon also give us a peek at the background of relations between Ukraine and the USA since the start of the war. While in public we see military pledges and mutual praises, many things not reported in social or traditional media have been going on in the background, as the United States have been both trying to dissuade Ukraine from taking potentially escalating steps and securing more military support for Kyiv from around the globe. The United States has so far refused to give long-range missiles to Ukraine, and one of the leaked documents reflects concerns of the US government that the Ukrainian army may use them to strike deep into Russia, which Washington sees as an escalation. This is something that has already been circulating in the news cycle related to the American refusal to provide long-range missiles to Kyiv. The United States has apparently also convinced the Ukrainian government against a mass strike on targets in Russia on the anniversary of the war in fear of escalation. America may have also been responsible for stopping the Ukrainian plan of striking Russian forces in Syria. The American efforts to dissuade Ukraine from taking potentially escalatory steps have been paired with attempts to expand the global coalition of countries supplying Kyiv with weapons. The leaks indicate that the US government has been considering ways of persuading Israel and South Korea to provide military support to Ukraine. Neither of these countries has done that so far, as South Korea is trying to maintain its long-term policy of not selling weapons to countries at war, while Israel has primarily acted neutral. One of the leaks indicates that a small number of less than 100 NATO military personnel is in Ukraine. They most probably act as military instructors rather than active combatants. The Pentagon has also expressed concerns with the Ukrainian air defense, the bulk of which comprises Soviet-era S-300 and Buk systems. According to the Pentagon estimates, at the current rate of expenditure, Ukraine should have run out of Buk missiles by mid-April and of S-300 missiles by May 3rd. This leak is probably the worst for Ukraine in terms of the actual impact it may have. If Russia was not aware before, now they know that Ukraine is running low on surface-to-air missiles. This information may help Russia reshape its drone and cruise missile usage, which may be more harmful to Ukraine. Ukraine may be already doing this, but if the air defense missile shortage is real, it would have to find a way to resupply its stocks, since the Western air defense system supply is insufficient to defend the Ukrainian airspace. Leaks also do not give an encouraging picture regarding providing fighter jets to Ukraine, or say anything about F-16s. One of the documents gives us a peek at the Battle of Bakhmut. It says that Ukrainian forces in Bakhmut were almost encircled on February 25th, as the usually optimistic chief of the Ukrainian military intelligence, Kirilo Budinov, assessed the situation as catastrophic. The situation was mitigated by sending elite units, probably to fight to maintain supply lines to Ukrainian forces in Bakhmut. The Pentagon is also apparently not optimistic about Ukraine's chances of turning the war around with a counter-offensive, assessed to launch on April 30th. They expect only modest territorial gains by Ukraine. The leaked documents also provide information about casualties. In February, the Pentagon assessed 43,000 Russians killed, with overall losses at 189,500 to 223,000, including many from elite GRU forces. According to the Pentagon, Ukraine has lost 17,500 men killed, with total casualties at 124,500 to 131,000. These numbers are consistent with the estimates of most of the military commentators. One of the documents was photoshopped, probably by Russia, to exaggerate Ukrainian losses, but it did not gain much traction due to its evident fakeness. The Pentagon has also reported a scary and potentially disastrous moment from September 2022. According to one document, a Russian Su-27 fired on a crewed British surveillance plane in the Black Sea. British Defence Minister Ben Wallace reported this incident to the House of Commons, stating that the British plane remained unharmed due to a malfunction of the Russian jet. But imagine how much the situation would have escalated if Russia had managed to down a British plane. The majority of the Pentagon leaks reflect information that has already been widely assumed in the analyst community, and just confirms many reports about different events surrounding the war in Ukraine. But there are documents which may create some distrust from the Ukrainian government towards American officials, especially in sharing information about their military plans. A leak on the Ukrainian shortage of surface-to-air missiles may be particularly damaging, as it gives the Russian command real information to work with. The Russian government may also utilize information on the composition of forces in Ukrainian assault brigades to deduce how these brigades will be used in the counter-offensive if Russia has information on the deployment and movement of these brigades. More leaks are being revealed as we speak, and we may find out more about the war in Ukraine from them yet. We are working on more videos on the war in Ukraine, so make sure to subscribe and press the bell button. Please consider liking, subscribing, commenting and sharing. It helps immensely. Recently, we have started releasing weekly Patreon and YouTube member exclusive content. Consider joining their ranks via the link in the description or button under the video to watch these weekly videos, learn about our schedule, get early access to our videos, access our private Discord, and much more. This is the Kings and Generals channel, and we will catch you on the next one.